Hi, everyone. I want to share a new functionality I learned today, which is combining the HLookup function with Sumif formula to look for a value in the first row of a data table and to get a corresponding value from another row. So to do that, first I want to share the table I have created. Yeah. So this table, you see that first I just want to delete column A. So this is my table at the moment. So my expenses are listed in column A and all the values for each of these expenses listed here by month. So you can see the header row gives months and each expense amounts for the corresponding month and the total at the bottom. So now in this cell C23, I want to look for a total for a month and 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 to get that value, whatever month I enter in column O16 as an input month, I would like to get results on this cell for the total for that month. So to do that, I just want to use the HLookup function. So I'm just going to click on the functions button and look for the HLookup formula here. And my lookup value is this date here on cell O16. And my table array is from A17 to M21. And I'm just going to put an absolute reference around this table. And you can see the results. I'm looking for the corresponding value is in row 5 of this table. So this is my heading on first and expenses 3. So 3 expenses here. So heading is 1, membership expenses on second row, third, 4, and my total is on the 5th row. So I'm just going to put number 5 and click OK. So it returns a value of 133 and I check the total for the June month in, which is 133. It works perfectly fine. So now I have, there are a couple of issues. The number one, I have to count the row number, the total, which row the total is on in this table. So when we add more expenses in this table, the total we go further down. Therefore, we have to keep counting. So to avoid that, I'm going to ID my expense line. So I'm just going to add another column at the beginning of the table, and I'm just going to ID my table rows. So my headings are on row number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I'm going to expand my table range to include the IDs. And instead of I type the row number, I'm going to reference to number A5, which is the ID number I given to that row, and it works perfectly fine. But now I have an issue that I can't actually leave in a table, how you create a table, the principle behind creating a table. You can't just leave a field or a value on the header row. So I have to put a heading for my ID. So I'm just going to change this to ID. So in my table now, the ID, the membership is my first ID according to the logic behind how you create a table. So it has to be number 1, 2, 3, and now the total is on the 4th row of that table. But according to the HLookup function, the total actually in this table on row 5. But because I tried to put the ID numbers and things, and now it's reading according to the A21 cell reference I entered here in my formula, it's actually reading in this table from the whatever it's giving me the corresponding value on the fourth row of this table, which is, if you look at 30th of 06 on the fourth row is 26.67. That's what it's returning. Hold on, sorry. Let's go back to the formula. And what did I do? Okay, I changed this. So I just put back A5 here. So this is not what we want. So to avoid this, somehow we have to fix this problem. So to fix this problem, what I'm going to do is I can add rows in my table. So I'm just going to add empty row. And now I'm going to ID my first empty row as the number 1 row in my table, and 2, 3, accordingly 4 and 5. Still, it's wrong because now I have an extra row in my table, and because I add an empty row in my table, it's still we got 6 rows in my table, but because 822 is still reading fifth, so it's giving me the value on the 5th row of the table. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to also ID my columns. So I in my table, if you look at it, the dates, the date column starting on column, this is my 3rd column in my table. Sorry, I just changed the formatting here. It's a number, and come on, just a number. And this is obviously February on 4th column. And sorry, I just changed this formatting all the way. And 4th column, so I just wanted to auto-fill this. Okay, so you can see this is now I have numbered these columns. So what I could do now is, first I want to test something. So now I'm going to change my table range. I'm just going to avoid taking the headings. So I'm just going to take the headings off. And what I'm going to say is, instead of reading P6, I'm going to say in my number 8 is my June month end. So I'm going to, instead of looking P16, I just manually type, I'm looking for the 8th column in my table and give me the value on row number 5. So now my row number 5, because I avoided the heading, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should work now. Okay, see, now I got the results. But the issue is now we need to automate. Somehow we link the numbering system for columns with the header row with the month. So obviously the functionality comes to my mind to look for a specific number from a range of cells using a specific criteria, a Sumif function. So let's test a Sumif function here, how it works. So I just put Sumif functionality. So what I'm going to look for here, I click on the function button again, look for the Sumif function. And then I'm going to put, this is my range here is now the dates on this. So this is my date. And the criteria is, this is what I'm looking for on P12, the input month I put. The sum range is, this is what I want to return, the numbering system I given to columns, right? So I get the results 8. So as you know that in my previous HLookup function, I given I just type in number 8. So instead of typing in number 8, if I put this formula to replace this number 8, then I have managed to automate or link my header with the row I have entered. So what I'm going to do here now is I want to put here, instead of put 8, I'm going to put the Sumif function here. So I'm going to say Sumif bracket. What is my range? This is my range, the lookup range, and then comma, and my criteria is the input month, and I want to return this numbering system I given for the column. And I just put an absolute reference around these and these ones too. And I'm going to close the bracket and let's see whether now my formula works. Well done. I get the results what I want. So now if I change here on P12 the month to July, I expect the results $101.50. So let's say whether that works. 31,472,022. Well done. I get the results 101.50. So this is how we could use HLookup and Sumif function to combine them to get a corresponding value from my input lookup value in a complex situation, that if I can't use the HLookup basic functionality, this is how we could combine HLookup and Sumif function to get the results we want. I hope you understand my explanation, and I hope this would help you to do your own financial modeling. Thank you. Bye for now.